I'm sometimes asked, what is the greatest obstacle to realizing the self or realizing who and what we are? I've answered this question different ways at different times, and I thought I'd try to bring some of it together today. The question is fundamentally using the ocean analogy. It's a wave consciousness, something that believes it's a wave. And the question is, what is the biggest obstacle to realizing that one is the ocean and not a wave? And really, the greatest obstacle is the belief that you, the me, that is, that you will realize your true self. You'll realize who and what you are at some point in the future. That is the biggest obstacle, that you will realize. Because when realization, enlightenment happened for me, it was not a me that woke up. It wasn't a me that realized that who I really was not other or separate than anything else. It was not a me that accomplished anything. It wasn't a me that attained anything. That me is a fiction. And that's why I've said that, fundamentally, to a certain degree, all practices, all spiritual practices, all seeking is a reinforcement of the me, because it is a me practicing, doing, to get results, to accomplish for its own personal gain. And it is a reinforcing structure of the me, not a seeing through the me. Now, this obstacle, you got to remember, is from the wave consciousness. If in the analogy, if a wave is saying, well, what's the biggest obstacle for me to realize that I'm the ocean? The biggest obstacle is thinking that it will realize it's the ocean. I'm kind of repeating myself, but it's important. Now, in the same way, I've said that it's our very attempts to liberate ourselves, it's our practices to liberate ourselves. It's the act of seeking liberation and trying to be liberated itself is bondage. That itself is the bondage. So it is a struggling with thought, within the mind, trying to escape something that doesn't exist. It's kind of like if I'm walking by in a wide open space and someone's rolling around on the ground, kind of twisting and contorting and kind of with their arms to their sides, and they look up and they see me, and they ask, what is it I can do that to get out of this room and get out of this straitjacket? How do I become free of all this? They don't believe me when I say you're not in a room and you're not in a straitjacket. Because it is that mental belief. It is that mental attachment to a me that struggles. It is basically this whole thing is in the mind. It really is in the mind. It is through the mind that we've created the problem. It kind of reminds me in Blazing Saddles. There's a scene where, the two main characters are trying to escape a posse, and they're running across an open space prairie. And they're like, the posse's catching up. What are we going to do? And so one goes, oh, I've got a bright idea. And it cuts away, and it comes back, and the posse runs up to a toll booth. They ask for a dime per person. And they stop immediately in this open plain, and they start searching their pockets, going, does anybody got enough dimes for everybody? And this is really the fundamental entrapment. Nothing stopped them from riding right on through. They could have kept going and chasing, the two main characters, and eventually caught up. They didn't need to stop. They thought they needed to stop. And because they thought they needed to stop, now they need to think there's got to be a way to get around this obstacle. But there is no obstacle. It's a wide open plain. And that's kind of in essence what this is all about. It's overcoming those illusions and fictions of the mind. And one of the illusions is that there will be a you that will realize it one day. Thank you much.